With all apologies to Stranglehold, I'm telling you, there's no walk-up music like Wham! Walk-up music. That can only mean one thing as we're back on the Drew and KB
Andrew
show.
Ridgely's dead? Oh, sorry.
No, but George Michael is.
I know, I'm kidding.
Yeah, he gone.
Well,
It's very sad.
it is sad.
It is.
But happy, Docs, we've got a great guest.
But I'm
coming
happy
up.
that Andrew Ridgely, to the best of my knowledge, is still alive. Welcome back into the Drew and KB show without Drew or KB. Hunter's still here, but I'm Doug Russell. Dobie Maxwell is here. And now, of course, we welcome in from MilwaukeeCom, a man about film. We welcome in Matt Miller. Hello, Matt.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for joining us. We're on the YouTube right now.
We are live on the 97.3 The Game YouTube. Go like and smash that subscribe
guys,
button.
smash that like and subscribe button for me if you could. That'd be great. Thanks for tuning in.
And leave a comment and tell your friends. Wait,
Never leave
just
a
smash
comment.
the like button.
Don't leave comments.
Yeah, don't leave comments.
Yeah,
we
those
don't
are
want to
so
hear what you
shameful.
think.
That is fair.
Who are those three weenies with Matt Miller? We want to hear him talk.
So, what are you doing for Father's Day?
Nothing.
Okay.
No things. Not due to a lack of interest in my father. He's a great human. Really.
I used to
great
do a radio show with your father. You know.
Yeah. A little bit of a little radio callback there. But yeah, we're going to do a little something on Saturday. We're going to hang out at Taco Fest, hang out at the Lakefront Festival of Art. And then if I'm up for it, I'm in the middle of planning a wedding right now. So I'm taking all the days off that I can. I'm just hoarding them.
So how much is it you or how much of it is your fiance who's doing the planning?
I would say it's 50-50. I would imagine she would say it's 75-25.
Are you enjoying the process of planning a wedding?
No. I'm really excited for the wedding plan. I'm excited for the wedding, and I'm excited for everything that comes after the wedding. And I'm sure the wedding itself will be wonderful, but right now it's a lot of details. And everyone's like, oh, you just got to find the moments. You got to enjoy
Wedding
it.
planning sucks.
Favorite.
Wedding planning sucks.
Yeah, we got to invite Aunt Charlene. Oh my gosh, not her.
I hate Aunt Charlene.
I've got wonderful family. We actually just had the wedding shower.
Not talking about your family.
Oh,
about hers.
So there's a writer's strike that's going on right now. There's going to be an actors strike, which is coming up. There's going to be a director's strike that's coming up. When's Hollywood going to get back to work? Is anybody going to be back to work by Labor Day?
It's not looking good for that, honestly. So this is a pretty big strike. It's been I don't know the last time that all three guilds have gone on strike. I know the Directors Guild may go on strike. The Actors Guild may go on strike. Obviously, the Writers Guild is on strike. And you can blame streaming for all of this. You can blame streaming for all of this because there are no residuals anymore. The way that people made a living in Hollywood as writers, as actors, as directors was via residuals. And with streaming, these studios have kind of been like, oh yeah, well, we don't do that anymore. And we don't have a box office and we don't have ratings anymore. So I guess you just have to take this amount. And maybe if you get to season 4, we'll pay you $10 million for that season. Oh no, we canceled you on season 3. Too bad.
Wow.
So it's just a real mess. And then you throw the AI of it all into this, and vocal rights and the rights to your image, and AI being used to write scripts. And there's a lot that the studios and these creative guilds have to parse out, and right now it's not going well. So there's a backlog of movies, there's a backlog of TV, so we shouldn't really feel this anytime soon. But this could go on for quite some time. This could go on till the end of the summer into fall, and then we'll start seeing some stuff getting pushed. Then we'll start seeing some movies that maybe needed a writer on set to fix up that dialogue. Because if you're wondering about some movies in 2008 that turned out bad, 2010 that turned out bad, it was probably the writer's strike.
Oh, well, and one of the ways that it's impacting right now, if I'm not mistaken, is the late night shows that are just having to replay tape shows, right?
Yeah, SNL, all the late night talk shows, they're all just doing reruns right now. And I mean, it's kind of funny though, because it's like those were kind of dying industries, but they were a part of the hype cycle. If you had a new movie, a new TV show coming out, you went on Fallon, you went on Kimmel, you went on these late night shows, you went on SNL. Well, that's not open anymore, right? That's not available. So how do you get the word out about the Flash, about Elemental, other than just advertisements, which can hit or miss?
TikTok.
Yeah, I guess TikTok.
As long as that's still legal. While it's still legal.
Move to Beijing and get a TikTok account.
Matt Miller, Man About Film, joining us here on the Drew and KB show without Drew or KB. So what's out there right now? We're in the, I should say, because we binge, we're in the air quotes middle of FUBAR with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And so
I've heard it's fun.
It's fun, but it's 8 episodes. It's 8 1-hour episodes, and then you're on to something else. And maybe that's part of the problem with the whole streaming platform right now, because they don't have long seasons and they don't have numerous seasons that you can draw on. So what else is out there right now?
Yeah, so if you want an action movie and you don't want to go out to the theaters, Netflix does have a new action movie out this weekend called Extraction 2, the sequel to Extraction, which came out, I believe, in 2020, starring Chris Hemsworth, Thor. The first one, they do these long, you can tell it's an action movie guy that made these movies, because the action sequences are really impressive. They're like these long one takes. They're very technically impressive. They're not very engaging, though. Like these movies do not have a strong plot. You go there for stuff getting blown up and dudes getting bones broke, and well, that's what you're going to get in round 2. So that's a big release this weekend. And then I know next week, for streaming TV wise, the second season of The Bear.
I like that one.
About the Chicago restaurant kind of scene that became a big hit during kind of pandemic times. That is also coming out as well next week. So that'll probably be a big deal as well. Maybe we'll get some more Sprecher references in there too.
Oh, very nice. Jeremy Allen White, the star of The Bear.
From Shameless as well.
Shameless. Mm-hmm.
Triple A Dante says, how does he like the angry black girl and her monster?
Okay, so I really wanted to see that movie. I am unfortunately, like I said, the wedding planning, and we had a loss in the family. And unfortunately, for a small movie like that, it's only in town for like a week. If I had to recommend to people out there, if there's a small indie movie or a small horror movie out in theaters that you want to see it as soon as you can, because the odds are good, especially in the summer, it won't be around for long. Because if a movie theater is given the choice between a 5th screen of The Flash and a second week of The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, which is an indie horror kind of take on Frankenstein, they're going to take that 5th screen of Flash every single time nowadays. So I'm hoping to check that out on VOD. I think it's out there already. It might be on Shudder right now, the horror movie streaming service. But I'm really excited. That was a Milwaukee Film Festival selection as well. So a lot of really interesting stuff out there.
Also, we talked about this before, but my love for the show Manifest, and that show, yes, and that the final 10 episodes came out. I think it was 2 weeks ago, and I just watched the finale over the last weekend.
How'd that go for you?
That was it was wild. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody, but it is wild.
That's good. You know what? Props to you. I do want to go on a little rant here for a second. We have forgotten how to not spoil things for people. And obviously on the internet, that has been a people problem for a while now. That has been a problem for the past 10 years of internet life. But now it's like genuine publications that are not giving a fart about spoilers anymore. Just today on vulture.com, they straight up spoiled one of the big surprise cameos in The Flash, a movie that came out today, that unless you saw the last night opening night screenings or were in the 10 a.m. screenings this morning, you didn't get a chance. Like, can we wait until the opening weekend, give people a chance to see these movies before we're like, oh, by the way, that dude dies in it or something like that? Can we have some respect for people's time, that we're not all insane lunatics who go out at 8:30 in the morning to see Flash opening day?
Yes.
So for someone who writes and reviews these movies and does that for your job, what is your thought on that? Because I'm sure you go and see movies when they're pretty, when they're about to come out or when they're coming out, but do you then post the article with no spoilers? How do you handle that as someone who literally covers that stuff?
Yeah, I try not to be. I mean, it's funny. I just went on that rant. I'm not really a spoiler phobe. There are some people who, when that first Star Wars movie came out, was like, I don't want to hear any plot details. Someone said there was a lightsaber in the movie, and they were like, "Oh, spoiler alert, bro!" And like, if it's stuff that plays in the movie, like a big reveal or a spoiler or a moment that you want the audience to experience for themselves, I'm going to talk vaguely about that in my review. I'm not going to straight up say stuff. And I don't like and then that scene happens. Because when you read headlines that say, like, let's talk about that scene in that movie, then you spend the whole movie being like, oh, what's that scene? What's that scene? And I do want people to experience these things, as freshly as they can, as new to the movies as they can. I want them to experience them as the creators of the films wanted to, while also still being able to talk about these movies and not being like, I can't talk about the plot because the entire plot has been embargoed and spoiler alerted, which has happened with movies before.
There hasn't been, as we're joined by Matt Mueller on Milwaukee.com, a man about film, there hasn't been a good raunchy comedy, for my money, in a long, long time. Have you seen?
Period.
Right, true. Have you seen the new Jennifer Lawrence movie, No Hard Feelings, yet?
Not yet. They have not screened that in Milwaukee yet, but I'm very excited for that one. It is an R-rated comedy about Jennifer Lawrence being paid by some helicopter parents to welcome their 19-year-old son into manhood, I guess.
That's a good way of throwing into that. Very nice.
Yeah, it's great because I do think the last R-rated raunchy comedy to find success in theaters was probably Good Boys in 2019, which was the comedy with the little boy from Room and swearing up a storm. But really, there aren't a lot of they don't make a lot of comedies, period, anymore. They don't make a ton of money, and we've really conditioned audiences to not think of those as big screen experiences, which is kind of a bummer because comedies are great in a crowd. Laughing alone on my couch is really sad. I would much rather laugh in a crowd of people.
It's infectious, I'll tell you. Being a lifelong comic, when you're in a full...
Yeah, you would know.
Do you ever see the movie The Aristocrats?
Yeah. Yes.
You guys see that movie?
I have it on DVD, but I haven't thrown it in yet because nobody watches DVDs anymore. But I may do that this weekend because there's nothing else to watch.
Well, it's one of those.
Even though I have most of the streaming services, we've just gone through everything.
I was in an artsy theater in Chicago and was the only one laughing, and I felt like a total ass because they were staring at me like, "What do you find funny about this?"
Who are these weirdos who went to the Aristocrats and were like, "Oh, this material seems a little uncouth"?
It was the same. I know we're up against the break, but it reminds me of when I saw Robin Williams at the Oscar Mayer Theater in Madison about 20 plus years ago. And there was an intermission, and it was the funniest show I've ever seen. I had an ab workout from laughing so hard. I hurt myself laughing so hard. It was so funny. But in the intermission, there were these two old ladies in the lobby saying, it was just so filthy. I didn't expect to see that much. I didn't expect to hear that much filth from Mork. I'm like, did you know what you were getting yourself into?
From Mork.
You thought you were saying Andy Williams.
The Book of Mormon was in Milwaukee, and all these, gray-haired people showed up and were like, oh, it won the Tony. And then they go in and they're like, oh, it's from the guys who did South Park. Mm-hmm. This is a little bit more R-rated than we expected. I'm going to leave it intermission.
Yeah.
Here's how dumb I am. I took a blind date to see Silence of the Lambs because I thought it had lambs in it. Must be a chick flick.
Nice. How'd that work out?
That's the woman I love. We're married now.
And it's a love story. Matt, we appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week. You will with Drew and KB, and we'll find you on the onlines and on the radios and all the places.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and on the YouTube. Smash that like button.
With the wedding,
Summerfest. Yeah, absolutely.
Matt Miller, Matt About Film from MyMilwaukee.com, joining us here on the Drew and KB show without Drew or KB.